Legislative leaders have reached an agreement on a state budget. Superintendent Ryan Walters revises public comment rules, and the governor signs the Oklahoma Survivors Act. This is the KGOU AM News Brief for Thursday, May 23rd. I'm Nick Daniels. State legislative leaders announced yesterday afternoon that they've reached an agreement on a state budget. An income tax cut is unlikely this year. State Capitol reporter Lionel Ramos reports Governor Kevin Stitt agreed to give up that concession if the budget has funding for some of his priorities.
Stitt says he won't veto a budget proposal from lawmakers without an income tax cut if they agreed to conditions that he says would help make Oklahoma a more business-friendly state.
Preserve the current funding structure for the Quick Action Closing Fund, which has about $20 million in it. Preserve the Tribal Litigation Fund, cap the percentages around judicial pay at around 7% for district courts only. And then we can get the framework for business courts across the finish line.
Stitt's main push was for a specific court system to make business-to-business lawsuits faster and more efficient. I'm Lionel Ramos.
Both chambers' leadership found his requests agreeable. They shifted some numbers around to make them work and have come to a final budget proposal to send to Stitt, ideally before the legislature is scheduled to adjourn next Friday. State Superintendent Ryan Walters is changing how people can participate in public comment at State Board of Education meetings. State Impact's Beth Wallace reports Walters says it's to ensure equal opportunity for voices to be heard. But advocates say it will do the opposite.
Walters announced Wednesday the changes will be in effect at Thursday's Board of Education meeting. Instead of a first-come, first-served public comment sign-up with a set limit for on- and off-agenda comments, speakers will be chosen at random and limited, though it's not clear how many or how the randomized selection process works. A sign-up sheet will be made available a little over an hour before the meeting starts. Walters will also be able to extend the time limit of anyone's comment period at his discretion and can interrupt, terminate, or postpone comments. Thursday's agenda slates the comment period for the end of the meeting after a stacked executive session. Walters says activists have been monopolizing public access to meetings, and with the changes, quote, all Oklahomans will have that opportunity. But LGBTQ+ advocacy group Freedom Oklahoma says the new rules add to the growing list of public access limitations from the administration. For State Impact, I'm Beth Wallace.
A new law will lead to lighter criminal sentences for some survivors of abuse. Governor Kevin Stitt signed the Oklahoma Survivors Act earlier this week. OPMX's Kate Kelly reports.
Senate Bill 1835 is known as the Oklahoma Survivors Act. It directs courts to reduce the sentences of criminal defendants if they can prove physical, sexual, or psychological abuse was a substantial contributing factor in their offense. For example, this means defendants who have been convicted of killing their spouse would receive a lighter sentence if they can prove they were the victim of domestic abuse. The new law does not apply to defendants who have been convicted of an offense that puts them on the sex offender registry, nor to defendants who have received the death penalty. Stitt previously vetoed a version of the bill, saying it went too far. Lawmakers ended up raising the burden of proof for defendants in the most recent version of the bill, which the governor ultimately signed. I'm Kate Kelly.
In sports, the softball postseason continues today for the Oklahoma Sooners and Oklahoma State Cowgirls. OPMX's Ryan LaCroix reports on which teams they will face in super regional play.
The Sooners are chasing their fourth straight national championship. But to advance to the Women's College World Series, OU will have to beat the Florida State Seminoles twice in a best-of-3-game series starting tonight at 6 in Norman. OU beat FSU last season in the championship series. The Cowgirls, meanwhile, are in pursuit of their first softball national title in program history. They'll aim to best the Arizona Wildcats in Stillwater in Game 1 of the series tonight at 7. In Oklahoma City, I'm Ryan LaCroix.
And the NAIA Softball World Series also begins today with two Oklahoma universities in the mix. The USAO Drovers are after their second NAIA championship starting tonight at 7, while the Oklahoma City Stars seek their 12th NAIA title starting tomorrow afternoon at 4. You'll find more news throughout the day at our website, kgou.org, and on the KGOU PM News Brief podcast.
Hi, it's Terry Gross, the host of Fresh Air. We bring you in-depth, long-form interviews with actors, directors, musicians, authors, journalists, and more. Listen to our Peabody Award-winning Fresh Air podcast from WHYY and NPR.